On to the last question. Is it fair for us to enjoy a comfortable life today, knowing that our children will suffer in a ruined environment tomorrow?
Oh, ethically and morally speaking, of course, it is not fair. Kasi at that point of view is parang it's very selfish and greedy. Kaya going back from my answer sa first question about we have to think about not only ourselves but also yung sa future generations to come. Siyempre, alam nga namang parang umusin natin lahat ng resources sa mundo, di ba? Oh, like very selfish yun. Even biblically speaking, that is not good. So, I think we should all get together and, establish solutions na parang which like ililimit natin yung parang abuses sa mga for example sa food consumption, etc. resource consumption kasi limited ang everything in a beginning. So, yun. Yeah.
It's not fair. It's never fair since we're benefiting from it now and knowing that our and future generations will be suffering in the future. There will be less benefits that they can get with the nature. So like imagine before we have abundant trees and resources, animals in the wild, but now there's limited. Like you need to raise livestock on your own so that you can have food. But before you can just hunt everywhere at that, so it's unfair and it's more difficult for them to survive in the future.
Speaking of environment, kung ngayon yung pag-uusapan natin, we need to think of the future. Kasi hindi lang yung mga future children ang magsasuffer. Pati rin tayo. Or, sure, lahat tayo magsasuffer. Hindi lang yung mga bata. So, hindi siya fair for me to enjoy comfortably. Lalo na kung may nasisira na environment. Especially during Baguio, di ba? May mga typhoons, may mga sumisira ng mga bundok, nagiging kalibo para sa mga mining projects, and ang laki ng epekto mo. It's a landslide, you must so, yun na lang yung example na magiging epekto if we live in a comfortable life pero may mga nasisita ng cake. So, yun yung sagot ko. Short answer is not free.
Well, the question is, meron pa bang environment na malalakyan yung mga bata if wala naman tayong environment na iwan sa kanila? Considering na yung quote na ang kabataan ng future ng mga tao. Kung future nga talaga sila, dapat bigyan natin sila ng magandang environment na lumaki na dapat lagi nilang ginagawa kung anong ikinakabuti ng kung anong mga surroundings nila. Wag lang sa tao, syempre. Kasi even if wala namang tao, mabubuhay ang mundo natin eh. It all comes down sa perspective ng isang tao, how they contribute kung sa future nila. If they think about themselves, that's good for them, but bad for the environment. If you give too much, and if you think na you're giving too much at tas hindi ka nakaka-receive ng enough, and you go to the path na let's say anong term yun? Let's just say na you go down a path where you absolutely regret nothing, and in a fact na some actions are not reversible, and if you do something di mo na talaga mababawi yun. And yeah, I think na dapat we should care for everyone, environment. Wag lang environment, dapat each other din. Kasi at the end of the day, mas maganda nagtutulungan tayo para sama-sama din naman tayo sa isang planeta.
Alright, we're back and wow. Hearing those answers from our fellow Lormanians really hits different. We went out looking for podcast content and came back with a heavy existential crisis.
For real. But they did point out the hard truth. Our entitlement, our greed, and our classic habit of hoarding plastic bags inside other plastic bags like it's a family heirloom.
Exactly. Look back at the footage of the garbage avalanche. That didn't just happen overnight. It's the physical result of a broken moral code. And unfortunately, as IT students, we know we can't just press Ctrl Z to undo a landslide. We can't just turn the earth off and on again to fix it.
And that's why this matters. Through this project, we've realized that being a good moral agent isn't just about feeling guilty while sipping milk tea from a single use plastic cup. It's about taking action guided by truth.
To do that, we have to apply the minimum requirement of morality, which means using reason and impartiality. And no, reason doesn't mean finding a reason to justify taking a tricycle for a 3-minute walking distance.
Well, reason tells us that the facts don't lie. Our current lifestyle is literally trashing our home. And impartiality means recognizing that the future generation's right to a safe environment is just as important as our desire for the next Shopee next day delivery.
We cannot be partial with our own selfish comfort anymore. So, as the e-coders, we prescribe a solution: sustainable accountability.
Mhm. And first, it means holding ourselves accountable for our daily waste, segregating and reducing single use plastics. Yes, that means actually bringing your eco bag, even if you forget it at home 90% of the time. Second, as our respondents suggested, we must support sustainable alternatives like responsible agriculture and proper resource management.
We've spent this whole podcast talking about the moral code of our environment. But at the end of the day, a code is completely useless unless you actually run it. And we really don't want this one to crash.
That's true, Liam. Well, it's time to step out of the studio, log off, and step back into the real world to do the work.
Let's do our part.
One, two, three. See you on our next podcast.